Welcome, friends and collectors. You have joined me for an all-new edition of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays, brought to you by my friends at smallscalehobbies.com. You guys know the deal. Visit smallscalehobbies.com for all of your wargaming and scale model military needs. On this week's edition, we are going to be learning about the M25 tank transporter. Now, the M25 tank transporter is actually two different vehicles. So you have the tractor, this portion, and the trailer, which is a lowboy trailer, the portion that you see at the rear. This vehicle was instrumental in the U.S. Ally war effort, and it can be argued was just as instrumental after the war, when many of these were sold as surplus and used to transport heavy equipment around the country, which helped build the interstate highway system and the housing boom, among other things. Alright, so I said this is a two-part model that makes the M25 tank transporter. The first part is the 6x6 tractor, known as the M26 Armored Heavy Tractor, made by the Pacific Car Company. So let's take a look at that. As you can see, this one has the two winch setups on it. Now, these winches could pull up to 60 tons. On top here, I don't have it fitted, but this is where you could put the only armament that this truck really had available to it, which was your M2 Modus, your 50 cal automatic machine gun. This is where your antenna would go. You can see this does have some U.S. Army Allied markings on it, applicable to the World War II era. On the front, these would flop open. You could drop these, obviously, if the truck is not traveling, and that, of course, just adds added protection. Speaking of protection, I mentioned that this is a armored cab. The armor is really rudimentary when we talk about armor these days. It's so rudimentary, in fact, that the armor only goes up to 3/4 of an inch at its highest point, so really not that great. So if you were to get schwacked by a tank round, or really even some 50 cal round, it's not going to be good for the guys inside. Okay. This side of the truck, you do have an extra spare tire on the tractor. You'll notice that there's another spare tire on the lowboy trailer. And you can see that there's a chain drive mechanism as well that would power the drive wheels. Underneath the chassis, there's what it looks like. There's an even better view of the chain drive on the drive wheels, and another winch on the front part of the tractor. So that's the M26. Let's transition now to the second part that makes up this set, which is the M15 lowboy trailer. Now, these were made by the Fruithof Trailer Company. They were based in Detroit, Michigan. The whole set itself, you guys have probably heard this machine and know it as the Dragon Wagon, which was the nickname that this type of vehicle really got in the Second World War. And even today, the great-grandchildren of this vehicle, the U.S. military heavy equipment transporter, are still sometimes called Dragon Wagons. And of course, now we're talking about the Oshkosh heavy equipment transporter pulling the M1000 trailer. I do have a review of that. If you guys are interested, you can click the top right corner of your screen. You can watch that video after you watch this one. All right. So the whole vehicle, the whole set, had a 120-mile range. And interestingly enough, the fuel tank had a 120-mile capacity. So if you do some quick math here, that's 1 mile a gallon on average. That's pretty bad. It had 28 mile per hour max speed. I already told you that it was capable of mounting a 50 cal M2 machine gun. The armor, as I said before, at its highest point was 3/4 of an inch. At some points, it was as low as 1/4 of an inch. It could haul up to 40 tons on the back of the trailer. So what we'll do now for the last part of the video is I'll show you some models of real vehicles that are era correct to this time period, that if you watch archival footage or even if you watch some movies, you'll see these vehicles on the back of this M25 tank transporter. So let's go ahead and do some of that now. Let's lower our ramps. So obviously, this is capable of hauling up to 40 tons. So you could use this as a recovery vehicle if one of your wheeled vehicles gets destroyed or damaged in battle. But most often, this vehicle would be transporting tanks. It was the direct replacement to the Diamond T tank transporter, because that was designed to really haul the Stuarts and the Lees and that kind of thing around, not the heavier tank destroyers as well as the Sherman tanks. So let's start off with something a little bit smaller. And this is a Cat D7 military dozer, CB dozer. So that's what that would look like on there. Nice little pose. Move up to something a little bit larger. How about a self-propelled artillery piece? How about that? That's what that would look like on there. But again, sticking to tradition, what this would normally be seen carrying most of the time is our M4 Sherman tank. So there's one of them. To give it the ultimate realistic look, let's load our ramps back up. And there you go. So that will conclude this week's episode of Diecast Emporium Military Mondays, based on the 1/87th scale, or HO scale, Roco MiniTanks M25 tank transporter, which, as I've said, and I will say one last time just for recap, is an M26 armored heavy cab tractor truck pulling an M15 lowboy trailer. The lowboy trailer manufactured by Fruithof Trailer Company, which was based in Detroit, Michigan. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoy these Military Monday segments on this channel. Again, it does allow, for those that are new, it does allow me to share my passion of not only our military, but military history and scale models in the same video. Can't get much better than that. And again, a huge shout out to the crew at smallscalehobbies.com for their assistance in making this video series possible on my channel. Again, thank you all so very much for watching. Until next time, take care, be well. I'll see you in the next review.